Yo, but before I start yapping, I wanted to say thanks for all the new subscribers. Everybody's commenting. And because people are actually commenting, I want to take advantage of that. And on this video, you're going to comment your most controversial zombies opinion, bro. And just for me, I'm going to start that out. Die Rise is a W map. I'm not going to go any further into than that. But anyways, today I wanted to talk about the new haunting mode in Warzone in DMZ and how it shows crazy potential for the future of zombies. This new haunting event is filled with seasonal bosses, so a bunch of Halloween bosses are all throughout the map, and they're actually not dog shit, which is what you would probably think for them being in Warzone, but they're actually pretty cool. This is probably the best event we've ever gotten in COD before, and if you haven't played it, I don't blame you because it is attached to Warzone. Warzone is dog shit, but you can also play it in DMZ, but if you don't have a squad of people, you probably shouldn't even bother, which is a real shame, but I'll get into that later. Events like this really shows what COD 2024 and Modern Warfare 3 zombies could really be if it was actually good. If they do this kind of stuff, then the game could actually not be dog shit. So the way the haunting mode works is it's just normal Warzone or DMZ, but throughout the map there are a bunch of objectives basically, and each one is a different boss fight. Before this, DMZ was a pretty dead mode. Like, it was kind of really empty, the missions weren't too good, the loot was pretty basic, but these side objectives, or really should be main objectives, actually make the game fun to play. These are interesting boss fights that we don't really ever get in COD. So out of the bosses, there's first of all, one of my favorites is the UFO from Zombies in Spaceland Infinite Warfare. This one was it was a UFO in the sky flying around and shit, and it actually like started abducting me part of the way through. Like I started flying up in the sky and I had to parachute down. There was another one, you fought the Pharaoh. That one was kind of cool, but it had a shit ton of AI guards and AI shooting at me. Just whatever. This shit was so annoying. There was a ghost train. It's not really as cool as the other ones, but it was whatever. It was fine. And then there was the fight with the Diablo 4 Butcher boss, which was cool, I guess. I don't play Diablo, but the boss was actually like a real boss fight, like something we would see in zombies maps in like Black Ops 3 or Black Ops 4. It was actually really cool to see. This Butcher fight was definitely the standout fight out of all of them, being really a lot like Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 4 main quest bosses, but just as like an open world event, which is super cool. Be really awesome to see something like that in the future version of Outbreak, where there's actually elements throughout the map that you want to go to and complete instead of those really basic objectives that we got in Outbreak before. These fights are actually really interesting and cool to do. One of the only issues is that it's attached to Warzone and DMZ. So the first thing I did when I tried to play this was I only thought it was in Warzone. So what I did was I loaded up a game of Warzone, and you can only play it with a squad. So playing solo was absolute dog shit. I went into Warzone, I wanted to fight the Butcher boss, but the zone kept closing in on me, and other players kept third partying me, and like my squad didn't want to go there because they just want to win Warzone, and it was just a whole mess. Something like this would be way better in an actual zombies mode where you're not restricted by other people and you can actually go fight these bosses if you want. And then I also tried to do it in DMZ because I figured there's less players, there's no storm, at least until the end, so it'd probably be a lot easier to do. But the thing about that is everybody else had the same idea, and there were squads. I would spawn right next to the Diablo boss. I would run straight for it, and then there's already a squad there, and they just shoot me. And so I didn't really actually get to do any of the fights, which is a shame, because they look super cool. Trying to play this mode solo was just like an absolute miserable experience. But this actually being, cool content begs the question, why is none of this being advertised to being in Modern Warfare 3 Zombies? That actually makes me really worried, because if they don't do something like this in Modern Warfare 3, it's going to be a huge missed opportunity, as like something like this, it'd actually make it fun to play. If Modern Warfare Zombies has constant updates that add these kinds of bosses to the worlds constantly, and the thing is, it's not even that much of an ask, because just for Halloween they gave us 5 of these bosses, so it's not entirely unreasonable that we could get one a month, maybe every month in Modern Warfare Zombies. You get a new boss. Like for Christmas we could fight a giant Santa boss. Like that's really in the realm of possibility now, and that would be so cool. Like as I was talking about in my last video, these seasonal updates that give character to the map could be crazy. Like what if you drop in on like December 5th and a quarter of the map is entirely covered with snow. There's reindeer hellhound enemies, and there's a giant Santa boss that you can fight. And it wouldn't even have to be that deep. Just it in of itself, that would make it so much more replayable and interesting to come back to. And they could do something like that for Halloween, Thanksgiving. They could do it one on New Year's or something. They could just constantly be doing stuff like that, and that would make the game so much more replayable. And my main complaint in my last few videos with this mode was that I really wouldn't play it again after the first time, and that would really solve this issue. It would just give so much more depth to the mode that you don't really see anymore in Zombies. But this really begs the question of why was something like this not advertised at COD Next for Modern Warfare Zombies? Because I could understand they might want to keep something like this seasonal specific and keep it as a surprise. But if they don't do updates like this constantly, like the one main thing at the end of the teaser was that giant snake boss that all the players could come together and fight. If that's the only boss we get for months, that's going to be really disappointing and a huge missed opportunity. We could get one of those snake fights like every single month added to the game and not even removed afterwards. Like, just imagine after a year's gone by, there's so many markers on the map of different bosses you can go and fight optionally, and they give you different rewards. That would be so good for the replayability and depth of this mode. And I could see people coming back even after the year's over to fight these bosses and to just like get the loot from the bosses and upgrade their character. That could be such a good gameplay loop. And if they don't do something like that, it's going to be entirely missed opportunity, and everyone's going to forget this mode after a year. And without seasonal updates entirely and these seasonal bosses, I really don't see how Modern Warfare 3 Zombies can even hold zombies up for the full year, like what we saw with Vanguard, how everybody really fell off that game after like 2 weeks a month. It could just be a repeat of that if there's not like substantial updates to the game like this. Speaking on COD 2024, like we know they're going to bring Outbreak back, and if they do stuff like this in Outbreak and they have great round-based maps in conjunction with that, it could be a crazy year for Zombies, because we could actually have a good Outbreak mode supplemented by a great round-based mode, and with 4 or 5 map releases in DLC and then the one Outbreak map expanding over time, it would really just be a great platform to deliver seasonal updates. Because since Outbreak is not really round based and not as story focused per map, it's a really good platform for adding seasonal content, because it is so filled with empty space and objective based. It's a lot easier to add, you know, optional bosses and things like that to something like Outbreak, so they wouldn't even need to create multiple Outbreak maps. The perfect idea, in my opinion, is that they have the one Outbreak map at launch, and they have 1 or 2 good in-depth round-based maps at launch, and then over the course of the year we would see the 4 DLC maps round-based, but every month or so they add, optional bosses, more areas, and not more areas as in old Outbreak where you would take like loading screens between them. More areas as in expanding the map, and even like in Warzone or Fortnite, how they changed the map over the year, they could do that in Outbreak. And that combined with the round-based maps would be just a great offering for everybody. And so imagine at the end of the year you have these 5 or 6 good in-depth round-based maps with the expanded Outbreak map that has all these markers around the map, and each one is an optional boss, even like the ghost train on the Haunting, where it's not really a boss, but it's kind of just like an activity, just seasonal areas. All that on the map would just make it so dense and not empty like we saw in Outbreak before. And looking in the past at other seasonal modes we haven't really gotten anything good out of Zombies seasonal wise. We got Jingle Hells, the Halloween mode, and I can't even remember any of the other ones because they really weren't substantial at all. The best one we ever got was the Halloween event in Cold War with the pumpkins, just because it was just like crazy loot off spawn. It was just fun. You didn't really have to set up at all. It made the pace of the game a lot faster. You get to high rounds a lot faster. But the Haunting seasonal event has proved that they have the potential to do so much more with seasonal events and this mode in general in the future. So the Haunting event in Warzone really shows what could be possible for the future of seasonal updates and the future of Zombies in general with these optional side bosses. It's just a shame that really solo players and people who would really enjoy this really can't play it at all, and it's being fed to us on this Warzone DMZ platform. But if this kind of content is given to us on a better platform like Zombies, it could allow for things that Zombies has never been able to do before. But yeah, that's it. Later.
You killed my teammate. Yes, you did. You killed him. You killed my teammate. I watched you.